Alright, part 2 of the Philippine Airlines adventure. Flew in this morning from Bali to Manila, got this hotel room for the day. Got the flight tonight from Manila to Sydney. Apart from like the seat and stuff in the last flight, the service was actually really good, so I'm actually kind of looking forward to this flight.
And by kinda, I actually meant that I was really looking forward to this flight. This was on Philippine Airlines' new lie flat business class seat, and in terms of service, I was already blown away from my earlier flight.
So I'm gonna grab a grab and let's get going.
I already had my boarding pass for this flight from Bali, and so I didn't have to mess around with checking in. Now, I went over this a little bit in the first video, but Manila Airport was, for a while there, rated as one of the worst airports in Asia. I'm not quite sure what they've done to turn this around, but I have to say that this airport is sort of completely fine, if not actually kind of nice. The check-in area is very bright and clean. Immigration was very quick. I do have to caveat this though. This was for the foreign passport line. The local passport line at immigration looked really pretty horrendous. About 2 weeks before I caught this flight, Philippine Airlines reorganized and simplified their terminal operations at Manila Airport, with all of their international flights, like mine, being moved over to Terminal 1, whilst all the domestic flights were now to depart from Terminal 2. This definitely makes it a lot easier if you have an international transit. It would, however, make international to domestic transfers a bit rougher. I think they had a free shuttle bus between the terminals, but definitely do your own research here. Another consequence of this change is that their flagship, I'm going to butcher the pronunciation here, Mabuhay Lounge, is actually located in Terminal 2. And so if you're flying long-haul business class, the expensive seats, not for me in this case, but if you're paying lots of money for those flights to North America, you're actually sent to the Mahaba Lounge, which, like, I almost couldn't believe this when I found out. Is this the lounge for Philippine Airlines?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Do they not have their own lounge?
Yeah, they don't have their own. That's why they're just trading.
Okay, that's weird. Now, this lounge is probably as bad as the one that we started in Bali. It's not very big and it was completely packed. I did end up snagging a seat, but during my 40 minutes here, I did just see people walking around looking for a seat that did not exist. It did start to empty out at 9:20. My flight boarded at 9:40, so I got about 10 to 15 minutes of relative peace. All of the food options looked pretty suspect, but for the video, I thought I had to try it. So the noodles and the rice were all right, but the chicken adobo was actually pretty good. The sandwiches were just incredibly sweet, which is kind of just weird. The drink selection, in my opinion, is actually pretty good. They had no sugar options for Coke and Sprite. You never see no sugar Sprite in Asia. That was pretty amazing. And they also have beer and wine options as well. Nothing super premium, but probably all drinkable. This lounge definitely is not worth spending any sort of time in. It might be nice just to come in for some free drinks before your flight, but other than that, it's not a place you want to hang out in. This is definitely an area that could be massively improved for Philippine Airlines.
Need some of that water. Gotta stay hydrated.
Business class. Thank you, sir.
Is it no water through here?
Yes, sir.
No water?
No water.
Oh, okay. I'd already gone through security, so I thought that I could take water on board. Once again, I got done by the Australian liquids rules. What in the world is that? That was a mess. That whole ordeal meant that there wasn't really any advantage to flying business class here. There was no special queue or priority boarding. I was probably paying about the same as everyone else in this queue though, so I didn't really mind the wait. Check out part 1 of this Philippine Airlines adventure to learn more about the deal, how much this all cost and all of that. Hello. 2K. Thank you.
Hello. Enjoy your food for today. Would you like anything to drink? We have Four Seasons juice and we have pineapple orange.
Just some water right now, thanks. Thank you. Yeah, definitely. The service started out strong with pre-flight drinks, 2 hot towels for some reason.
I got a second one.
And they took orders for the dinner and breakfast service. I'll go more in depth with the service later. I actually want to start with the seats. For the uninitiated, there's sort of 3 or 4 different major seat manufacturers around the world that make all of the seats for pretty much all the planes you'll ever go on. And they have standard designs for seats. And in this case, Philippine Airlines uses the Thomson Aero Vantage XL business class seat. This is the same as Qantas, Rwanda, SAS, and Delta. Airlines basically take this off-the-shelf design and then modify it for their colors and can change a few things here and there. For instance, the Delta seat has a door. I found the Qantas seat to be a bit more private. I think the headrests and everything are a bit higher, but at the core of it, they're the same shell, the same mechanisms, the same motors that are moving the seat, all of that. They're all laid out in this 1-2-1 configuration where the window seats alternate between being a window seat and sort of like an aisle window seat. You can sort of see it here. I found this version of the seat to be slightly better than Qantas's version. That's the only one that I can really compare it with. The screen was bigger and just better looking in general, and this seat also had like an air cushion massaging thing going on. You could like adjust the firmness of the seat with this air cushion, and it also had like an inbuilt massaging thing. The air cushion thing was actually quite nice. The massaging thing was nice for 2 minutes. The air cushion system was broken on the seat behind me, I think, so that could definitely be a factor as to why Qantas didn't put this in their seats. I had no problems with it and thought it made the seat slightly more comfortable. Now, the amenity kit, it's by the brand Furler. Never heard of them. But yeah, it came with socks, a body lotion, lip balm, a hairbrush, toothbrush and toothpaste, good quality Colgate, none of that weird off-brand stuff, a perfume, that was a bit weird, and they also included some pretty stylish slippers, which is always nice.
Estimate arrival time in Melbourne is now on schedule at 8. Estimate arrival time in Sydney is at 8:45 in the morning.
Also, please fasten your seatbelt over your blanket so our crew can easily see that you're safely strapped in.
We took off at 10:47, 22 minutes after the scheduled departure time, but we landed over half an hour early. So pretty much everything is on time here. The blanket had like a really weird smell to it. It was kind of just like stale. If you've ever had clothes that like haven't dried properly or something, that's sort of what it smelled like. I mean, it looked pretty clean though. There wasn't any stains or anything on it, so I kind of just used it and kept it away from my face.
No way. No way. Someone send that straight to Qantas. Bro, that was the biggest issue, man.
The Qantas version of the seats did not do this, so just another reason why the Philippine Airlines version is slightly better. The meal service started just under an hour after takeoff. They took our orders while we were still on the ground, and I didn't really go through it, but here's the menu. We've got a tuna tataki salad with a bread roll, and then for the main, there was 3 options. There was basically like a fish, the steak, or the chicken adobo. Whenever I see a steak on a plane, I've got to try it, so I went with the steak, obviously. And then for the dessert, I went with the ice cream. I cannot remember to this day why I didn't pick the mango crepe samurai. If I ever see that again on a plane, I'm ordering it. And then for breakfast, there was fresh fruit, funnily enough, dinner rolls, and then there was the option between cold cuts and cheese or a chicken sausage and waffle. Of course, I had to go for the chicken sausage and waffles. Cold cuts for breakfast? Nah, I'm good, thanks. Now, the starter was interesting. The tuna was good. The bread roll was good. The salad was a little bit, I don't know. Me and arugula did not get on, so that kind of ruined the salad for me, but the rest of it was all pretty good. Next up for the mains, we've got the steak. The mashed potato was mashed potato, the asparagus was overcooked, but the actual steak was really, really, really tender, really nice. Now, obviously, it wasn't some medium rare piece of perfection from a steakhouse, but it was surprisingly very good, especially for being on a plane. And finally, we had some ice cream. There was only one option, salted caramel. That was fine by me. It was ice cream. It was delicious. What more can I really say? I ate it all and I enjoyed it all. Also, they randomly gave me this packet of nuts. Is this sort of like Malaysia Airlines giving you packets of peanuts? Are cashews like a national thing for the Philippines? I don't know. Once again, we had the Philippine Airlines branded cologne. Super weird, but I'm getting used to it at this point. But yeah, generally, a really just standard, nice, clean lav. Their crew did a good job of keeping it clean throughout the flight. There was some nice amenities in there, including the cologne. No real complaints, but nothing really special. After all of that, it was time to try and get some sleep, meaning it was time to put the seat into bed mode.
I guess I can smoke. Should we light up?
The bed was relatively comfy, maybe a touch better than the Qantas bed just due to the air cushioning and the adjustability that I had there. It still had the same issues though, with the footwell being just a bit too narrow and restrictive. I reckon I got about 4 or 5 hours of sleep, so not good, but definitely not bad. The breakfast service started pretty much as soon as I woke up. It started with this little fruit plate and some bread and some more salted cashews. The fruit was good, the bread roll was good, and the chicken and waffles were good. Chicken sausage kind of slaps when you put maple syrup with it. The kiwi fruit was a bit random, but all of it just went together really nice. I mean, it was very sweet, not my usual breakfast, but that did make it quite good. The crew were also like just super awake and super attentive and kept on coming around to offer drinks. So I got an orange juice and a nice coffee. And of course, I've got to talk about the in-flight entertainment and how it's probably the most surprising aspect of this whole Philippine Airlines adventure. Firstly, the selection of movies is pretty broad and in my opinion, excellent. Of course, I find delight in them having both of the Jump Street movies. Your opinions on movies may differ. I do have to say that they do that annoying thing with TV shows where they only have like 2 or 3 episodes from a season instead of having like a whole season. So if you get into a show, you can't like continue watching it. That's kind of annoying, and the number of TV shows is a bit limited. When I say that this whole system is surprising, I'm more referring to the screen, not just the screen size. It is a pretty big screen, but the UI is just super responsive. I always expect the screens on planes to perform like a 2013 iPad. Like you press a button and you've got to wait a second for something to happen. This is like a brand new modern iPad. The thing that got me that made this so much better than anything else I've ever been on is for like a full-blown movie like I've got here, you can just scroll to the middle of the movie and it'll like instantly start playing. Like I know if you've got like a half-decent computer, it'll do this. I've pretty much never seen this on a plane before. Also, I can't leave out the audio section here. There's a great selection of albums. We've got like Olivia Rodrigo, Rufus Du Sol, Taylor's version of Red. I mean, I'm not a Swiftie, but they've got Taylor's version. Just a pretty extensive, decent selection of albums to listen to.
Mabuhay! Philippine Airlines welcomes you to Sydney.
We pulled into the gate at 8:45 a.m. Exactly on time. Big ups Philippine Airlines on that one. Overall, I have to say that this airline is surprisingly good. This judgment only counts when you're on the right plane and you're in the sky. I found that their service is excellent and the food is also very good. It's just that some of their seats on their older planes are pretty bad and the lounge situation in Manila is terrible. Manila Airport itself isn't quite as bad as the reviews say, but it's definitely nowhere near the best airport in the world. Overall, Philippine Airlines is showing pretty good potential. They've got the service bit down pat. All they got to do is figure out the seats and improve Manila Airport a little bit, and they could be a world-class airline. I'm not sure what the future holds, but good luck to them.